Hello and welcome. You're watching Business Today Television. I'm Sakshi Patra and this is Market Today, a show where we'll help you understand the closing action on the D Street. Well, it's the starting day of FY26 and it's not looked good at all. 350 points of a decline on the Nifty. Remember, what started off on a promising note has dwindled soon into fear. You can actually see the Nifty now below 23,200, 23,160 is the current level at which the Nifty is really trading at. All the sectors barring oil and gas and the media stocks, media sectors. That's the only bright spot in the space, but rest of the sectors, they have all come under pressure. With the real estate index, that's nearly down 3% now. You can also look at how the IT space is faring. Complete downfall, you can see a 2.8% kind of a decline coming in on the IT pack as well, 2.5%. Look at the consumer durables, over 2% cut. Financial services, over 2% cut. So nearly about 4 indices are down by over 2%. Your pharma, that's declining over 1.5%. You can also see the banks that are really under pressure. The Nifty Bank itself down by 1.4%, private banks declining by 1.2%. A lot of these heavyweights are leading to the crash in the markets that we are witnessing at this point in time. Although, what is really outlying or bucking the trend is IndusInd Bank, 5% uptick on a weekday like today. Trent, that's up 5% nearly. Bajaj Auto, remember auto sales figures are coming in and therefore some bright spot within the auto space. Geo Finance is doing well. Remember, this was one of the stocks that was discussed by our top market experts in the morning. Kunal B. Parar had mentioned that within the NBFCs he chooses Geo Finance and that's up by over 1%. HDFC Life is also buzzing in trade, but there are a handful of 9-10 stocks that are still in the green. Rest of the pockets have all slipped. HCL Tech down 4%. Infosys down 3%. So IT pack is under pressure. Banks, HDFC is under pressure. Bajaj Finance is down by nearly 3%. Bajaj Finserv down 3.5% as well. PSU stocks are actually flat with the negative bias. You have BEL that's declining, BHEL as well. But oil and gas stocks are doing well. BPCL, Coal India, GAIL, HPCL, IOC. These are the pockets that are still holding up. Vodafone Idea, top moving stock as far as the F&O moves are concerned, over 19% kind of a move. Indus Towers also up and about. You also have IndusInd Bank that's also rallying in trade. Let's actually welcome our guest on board to help us understand what exactly is the situation in the markets and what do you read into it. We have Mr. Brijesh Ale joining in on this special edition to help us with his view on the markets. Warm welcome, Brijesh. Good to have you with us. Well, the starting point of FY26 has actually been on a rather somber note. What exactly do you foresee for the markets going forward from here? Is this only to do with the fears ahead of Trump tariff? Do you think once the announcements come in, the markets will probably heave a sigh of relief if it's coming as per expectations or not too bad as the wildest expectations are?
Hi, afternoon, Sakshi. So basically, yeah, what you said is right. So the markets have been discounting what the news are coming. So probably some uncertainty is there. That is one of the reason why the India VIX is now up by almost 8%. But from the technical perspective, I believe we have seen a very good rise in the last week, and we are seeing some amount of profit booking. So Nifty and Bank Nifty both has reclaimed above 50-day moving average. So now on the way down, the value of the 50-day moving average, which is somewhere close to 23,000, should be the demand zone for the Nifty. And I expect this range to act as a very strong base. Eventually, what we saw in the last month of March, the recovery was pretty strong. So this in the early trade, if there is some kind of a profit booking followed by the Trump thing, I think that's it's to be viewed as an opportunity to take the long bites because our understanding is that most probably the Q4 numbers will also be pretty okay, not that bad what we saw in the Q3. So comparing that kind of a thing, maybe today is one of those days when we are seeing some pressure, but anywhere closer to 23,000, I think market should find support, and then gradually we should start picking up. So it is as of now, it is a buy on decline kind of a strategy which we are looking into.
Okay, let's actually drill a little deeper to find out what's your choice in terms of the key sectors that are really taking it on the chin today. IT and real estate, let's take them up one by one. First up, IT space. This seems to be the most vulnerable of the entire lot. Last few weeks, we've been continuously seeing pressure built up, and now we are standing right ahead of the Trump tariffs, and IT space is down by 2.5%. Of course, within 10 days from now, we'll have the earnings season kickstart for the IT pack as well. What's your approach here going to be?
So eventually, IT there were some strength during the last week, but then today that this is one of the major loser in today's session. But then if you look at the stocks like Tech Mahindra and Persistent, they were very good buying. And today's correction can also be an opportunity in this space because I think specifically Tech Mahindra and Persistence is looking good on charts, and today's decline is, I believe, there can be some opportunity. Irrespective of that, Tata Technology is one stock which is now still it is holding strong, and there has been a long build up from the derivatives point of view. So I think there will be a stock specific trade. Some corrections can be there, but then I think before or maybe like when we are heading towards the result season, I think again the volumes will pick up in the IT segment. So at least I'm expecting some bounce. That may not be a directional trade, but I'm pretty confident that we might see some bounce in this space. So as a sector, I think yeah, there has been a little bit damage in the start of the week. So, but then the level this level of 800 on the CNX reality is a quite a demand. It's a quite a strong support zone. So, but what we have observed over the last couple of days, whenever there is a correction in this particular space, immediately we would see some good amount of buying. So stocks like this, Uber Realty, DLF, Kodesh Property, these are the stocks which are holding to their strength. So I think as long as on the index point of view, the it doesn't break 800 level, the CNX reality, I think the strength will be there. Only in the near term, if this level is broken, then we can say there can be some further correction. But then from the sector specific, I think on the way down close to 800 levels, this index may find some support. And the stocks like DLF, Uber Realty should be kept on a watch list. And to an extent, Godrej Property is also something which is structurally the stock is looking positive. So maybe this opportunity can be viewed as a buying opportunity.
Okay, fair point. Let's again look at some of the other pockets. I wanted to discuss autos for you, which is just marginally in the red. There are sales figures that are coming in, Brijesh. We have Maruti sales that have jumped 3%. M&M that has booked about 18% gains this time around. For Ashok Leyland also the sales in March are up by about 6 odd percent again. Eicher Motors, we've actually seen Volvo Eicher CV have grown about 7.6% as well. Total domestic sales up 6.5%. Exports are up 44%. So again, a positive one. Atul Auto from the auto and for the three-wheeler makers has actually seen sales jump by about 18 odd percent. TVS Motors sales have risen 17% as well. Royal Enfield sales particularly have surged by more than a third in March, and 1 million vehicles have actually been sold. So that's the kind of move that we're actually seeing across the board. What stands out for you in terms of the auto space? Where would you put your fresh bets?
So actually, Sakshi, there is a mixed view. When we speak about of the two-wheelers, the view remains positive. And we speak about the four-wheelers, there is slightly a cautious to negative bias. So maybe the M&M Maruti doesn't look so much positive on the chart. But on the other side, if you look at the Hero Honda and the Bajaj Auto, and to some extent TVS Motor also, I think the structure for this particular space is positive. So it is going to be a mixed kind of a view, maybe because of the EV story which is panning out. The four-wheeler stocks are not looking that promising, but then specifically Hero Motoco is something which I am positive and we are recommending to the clients. So there is a fortune in Bajaj Auto, Hero Honda, and TVS Motor. So it is likely to be a mixed kind of a review.
Okay, so mostly two-wheelers is what you're looking at, Bajaj Auto, Hero Moto and TVS. Within four-wheelers, if I have to ask you, how would you look at M&M? You know, why I'm asking this is again for the sales in March, what we have seen from the company is that they have recorded highest ever SUV sales in FY25. That's a big one that the company has reported. They have dispatched 5.5 lakh units for this entire last year, fiscal year, FY25. This makes it for the first time that the automaker has crossed 5 lakh sales milestone in the country, showing a growth of 20% as well. Now, when we look at the year on year sales growth, it's 23% for the brand, and you know, the SUV segment has actually contributed to the growth with 48,000 units that have been sold in the domestic market, 18% growth just in the SUV you know, sales as well. What we are also looking at is especially some of the recently launched you know, players or the models by the company like Thar Rocks, for instance, has actually had a very big role to play in this kind of a space. How would you look at M&M, looking at the price charts, the way it has underperformed in the recent while? Do you think things are looking up finally?
Sakshi, the numbers may be good, but then see, it's very clear that last week we saw a distribution in the M&M and there was a very bearish
Yeah.
kind of a close in the last week, and that follow through selling has been seen in today's session also. So M&M 2550 would be a very crucial level where we'll keep a watch on. By any chance, if those levels are broken, then I think there can be a further correction, because this is purely from the charts point of view, because irrespective of the numbers, the prices are not showing that kind of action. So if the last week low is broken, then there can be a further damage in the M&M, and then that's a kind of a cautious one has to keep a watch on. The trigger is exactly at 2550, 2560, so that is a trigger level. So somebody having a long position should keep this as a stop loss and then should trade accordingly.
Okay, fair point. Hopefully, this has also helped all our viewers to understand what exactly should be the approach when it comes to the auto space at large. Let's look at a few stocks. Brijesh, what are you looking at in the F&O space today?
Yeah. So the stocks like, let me come to it.
Sure. Today, a
Uh,
lot of them are buzzing. You know, Vodafone
yeah,
Idea, Indus Towers, IndusInd Bank.
there are pretty good stocks. Some of today's stocks like this, Yes Bank and IDFC First has seen a very good momentum. So if this momentum continues, then this week there can be some opportunity in the Yes Bank and IDFC. Purely from the trading perspective, it is looking good. Meanwhile, before coming to the show, there was a good momentum I saw in the hotel stocks. So the hotel stock is something which is again picking up the trend. So to name it, like Indian Hotel, Chalet Hotel is something which is again looking very positive. Gale is one stock which has given a very strong closing. Like OMC is one space where again there is a momentum. IOC, BPCL, and then the Gale. So Gale from the current level, I think it can go back to 200 levels. So Gale is something which is very extremely positive. And yeah, to some extent, I think HP BPCL can also see the positive momentum. So there are stocks which are playing very strong.
Okay, got that. We'll focus on some of the other pockets then. What else is buzzing? We can look at the broadest index, the Nifty 500, to see any interesting names there. We have, apart from Vodafone that we've marked, Hester Biosciences, about 17.5% of a move. Selasar Technologies has been up since morning. It's holding on. Parag Milk Foods is 15% higher. Atul Auto we just marked. Vadilal is also up and about in trade. Then let's look at some of the other. Hindustan Motors is something that's up. Not many to name. Russell India. Some of them that are actually buzzing. If I have to ask you, Brijesh, from the Nifty 500 basket, any chart that really stands out?
Yeah, so I was keeping a watch on this. These stock like Sumitomo Chemical. So this is something which has come into my radar. So I think that momentum can be there, and to some extent, this Gujarat Fluorochem. This is also something which is giving a momentum. I'm not pretty sure whether the Whirlpool will come in the 500 or not, but then Whirlpool is one stock which is again gaining the momentum, good upside from the current level. The risk reward ratio is quite favorable at this point of time. Zomato is one stock which I believe can also be kept on a watch list because the level of 200 is quite a decent support, and the put writers are extremely aggressive near the 200 level. So Zomato, to some extent, the risk reward ratio is extremely favorable, so that can be kept on a watch list. And lastly, it's from the heavyweights. Siemens is something which has given a very strong breakout, and it is correcting back to the support. So somebody wants to take the new fresh bet, then Siemens can be one stock which can be kept on the watch list.
Siemens can be one stock that and we can be keeping on our watch list. We'll definitely keep that one. Let's look at the banking story now. Some interesting names that are doing well. You have Muthoot Microfinance that's up 6.6%, Dhani Services, you have MAS, then you have Spandana Spurti, Fed Bank Financial Services, interesting names there. Hoodco is up and about. You also have names like Geojit Financial Services, Credit Access Grameen. Many of these that are buzzing. Within the NBFCs particularly, what stands out, Brijesh?
I think Woodco is one stock which is extremely positive, and the current from the current level of 206, it can easily go back to 230 levels. That's a beautiful trading opportunity. I think Woodco, somebody wants to take a bet because it's not very late. Even with the today's low as a stop loss, somebody wants to take the long bet. I think there is opportunity in the Woodco. It looks quite promising. A week before there was a good rally. We saw some corrections, and then again now it is the stock has started to move from the demand zone. So Woodco is looking promising.
Okay. Hoodco is definitely looking promising. We'll keep an eye out on that one. We'll also look at the banks, the private sector banks now, Brijesh. What about IndusInd?
IndusInd, I'm not very sure. Like, see, there were the reports were supposed to come on the 31st. So I think that the reports are yet to come. So this is something the pullback rally which we are seeing. So still, why I'm not sure because the level of 700 as call writers are still aggressive. I don't know whether they will change the position or not. But for me to take a view that 700 writing has to be unwinded. So as now until the time I don't see that unwinding happening at the 700 strike price. Maybe this pullback will continue till the level of 700. Only if it sustains above 700 and the writers shift their writing position, then I would take some kind of a bet. Till that time, I think it should be a cautious and maybe the people who are stuck. If you want to take some profits, that means somebody who had done a bottom fishing and want to take some profits near 700, that should be done by watching the call writing data.
Okay, fair point. So that's as far as IndusInd Bank is concerned. What about the oil and gas story, which is one of the outliers in the markets today? That's the one that is actually bucking the trend. What would you see here?
So there is a two opportunity. One is the BPCL and another is the IOC. Those are two stocks which I am liking and we are recommending to the clients. So BPCL is something which has seen a very strong formation. I think this momentum should last. So maybe to the level of 300 and 310, I think there's opportunity in the BPSL. And if you speak of the IOC, it's slowly picking up. Maybe that momentum might not be that strong, but then the directional trend looks positive. So maybe 145, 150, not exactly 150, 145, 148. This is the level we're expecting to see the pullback in the IOC. So BPCL and IOC are the two picks. BPCL, there is a trade setup. IOC, somebody is having a position. Do keep their hold, means adding a fresh position would not be advisable, but the trend can continue till 145, 148 levels.
Okay, got that. 320 almost. Time now to understand any BTST, STBT trades, Brijesh, from you. What would you pick? Would it be BTST or will it be STBT looking at the current trend?
No, I would like to take a long bet because whatever the damage we need to see in the Nifty, it's already done. Maybe another
Okay.
50 odd points of corrections may, if we see some 50 odd points kind of a gap down opening, then that I believe that will be an opportunity for the this index for the recovery. Ashok Leyland is something which is very strong on charts. I think if somebody wants to take the BTST kind of a trade, Ashok Leyland is one. Steel Authority of India is something which is also looking good. And somebody who would like to take some risk, then Trend Limited is something which is very strong. So Trend, Ashok Leyland, and SAIL, these are the three bets. Looking at the risk reward ratio, I think somebody means the clients can take their long bets.
Okay, fair point. I hope this has also guided all our viewers much better. Let's look at some of the other pockets. Okay, I'll ask you about the ones that started to pick up pace, defense names within the PSU. How are you looking at the likes of HAL, BL? BL, there has been probably the order inflow that's lesser than the expectations that they had set out for FY25. That's why the dip. But HAL has signed its largest contract so far, and we have been seeing a gradual recovery. In fact, HAL shares in the last 1 month of recovery have already recovered 30-35% from their recent lows. How would you look at the defense names right now, and do you still think that some of them can actually be bought even at the current levels?
We have a slightly different view
Okay.
with regards to defense. So we are of the opinion that there won't be a much of a upside from in this space. So whenever there is an opportunity to the exit kind of a thing, maybe from the short-term perspective, I think there cannot be a big move. So HLL has already moved from the lower demand zone. So I think HLL is now approaching towards the resistance zone. So the levels of 43, 4350, 4400, if somebody who's already taken a long position near the lower levels, it is advisable to take some profits because it's really not very sure. Maximum 4500 is what the HL can go back to. And the rally has been very steep, and at any given point of time, there can be some profit booking. So it is advisable not to take any fresh longs. If they are having any long positions from the lower level, try to take some profits. 4500 would be the maximum upside from the current level, and then we'll see maybe over the next 1 or 2 quarters how the results come up, what are the order books. But we are not recommending any fresh trade setups in the defense space.
Okay, but today also there is a lot of momentum. Let's me just highlight for our viewers what's up and about in defense. You have MTAR Tech 5% higher, DCX Systems nearly 5% up, Mishra Dhatu Nigam also nearly 5% higher in trade. You also have names like Dynamatic Technologies about 2.2% up, Astra Microwave, that's another one that's also up by about 2%, Paras Defense that's nearly up 2% as well. So that's the entire space that's been buzzing, but Brajesh definitely feels that the exit opportunities could be sought at higher levels, or the bounces that you are seeing in the markets. We'll keep an eye out on that too. Let's also now pull up, okay, hotels and hospitality space is actually buzzing today. Brijesh, look at the likes of Lemon Tree. The erstwhile names are coming back in a strong fashion. Lemon Tree Hotels up by about 7%. Country Club Hospitality 9.9% higher in trade. What a strong surge that we are seeing across the board. There is even Samhi Hotels, that's up 5.7% as well. Dream Folk Services that gives you access for lounges is also up and about. Then you also have QSR chains like Restaurant Brands or a Barbecue Nation that's also up and about. How would you really look at the hotel space? What stands out for you?
We are positive on the hotel space, like we are having both the technical and fundamental coverage on the Lemon Tree and the Indian hotel. So Lemon Tree, we from the fundamental point of view, 188 is the target which we are looking at. So I think we'll see those levels. Maybe it will take another 2 to 3 quarters, but Lemon Tree is something which we are pitching. Indian hotels is also extremely positive. 900 is what our fundamental view on the Indian hotel. So that extension of that move will be safe. So and we expect the numbers, Q4 numbers to be pretty good. So I think the hotel industry, hotel stocks will look good. So there's always an opportunity whenever we see any kind of correction. It's kind of a buy of decline kind of opportunity which we speak for the hotel stocks. And Lemon Tree and Indian Hotel are the two stocks which we have a fundamental coverage.
Okay, fair point. We'll keep an eye out on that as well. Right, then tell us, Brijesh, if one has to really prepare for tomorrow between the major indices, Nifty Bank, how do you expect them to really strategize their next moves for tomorrow? Because remember, tonight is when the announcements on Trump tariff will start flowing in. We'll get to know how US markets reacts, Asia opens tomorrow, and in case it's an ugly scene, there could be a third day in a row when we could see probably the Nifty at risk of 23,000 and that testing again. But in case, like you said, most of the worst has already been priced in. In case things turn out to be more dovish than expected, then there could be a smart bounce also. So how does one really go about it?
So the view is pretty clear. Like as long as we don't break 23,000, that too we need a close below the on a weekly closing basis. So as long as we don't break 23,000 on the Nifty, I think we don't need to be that worrying too much whether the what would be the directional trend, because we have seen a very good recovery in the last month. And the start of the week, it has been slightly sluggish. That is okay. So 23,000 for the Nifty and 50,000 for the Bank Nifty. So as long as both levels are respected, I think the lower levels, it may take little bit of more time. Maybe tomorrow may be one of the sideways day, but I don't see any extreme damage like what the damage which we are seeing today. For example, 350 points on the Nifty and 700 points on the Bank Nifty. So that kind of damage might not be there. Maybe a small 50, 60 points kind of a damage on the Nifty and maybe 100 odd points on the Bank Nifty. So we will be looking to do some long bets, maybe taking some of the call option. Wherever if there is a proper structure, if there is proper OI, and if the data are supporting, then most probably we'll be looking to take some safe trades, maybe the bull call spread. But then we'll not be taking a sell trade for sure, because maybe the stock specific, wherever there is a strength, I think we'll be likely to add few long bets, maybe from the directional point of view. And once the see for the last week we saw that 23,800 was the resistance zone. So more
Yeah.
likely this 23,000 and 23,800. So this should be the range which we should be looking for the Nifty. And same thing for the Bank Nifty comes at 50,000 and 52,000. So this would be the range which we are expecting for both the indices. And since we are positive on the market, the declines will be viewed as a buying opportunity.
Okay. Brajeshji, today cement space is also on the buzz. We can see Saurashtra Cement, Andhra Cement, Kakatiya Cement, Sri Digvijay, Udaipur Cement, all of them up and about in trade. Anything that catches your attention here?
Uh, Okay, so maybe not. I'm not exactly seen the space this how this is acted, but on from the recommendation point of view, on a safer note, Ultratech cement and to some extent Ambuja cement can be kept on a watch list, because this is what we are liking from the long term perspective. So if there is some corrections, we can keep a watch on. Ultratech is holding a support at 11,000 mark. So as long as we are holding those points, there's always a opportunity in the Ultratech. And to some extent, from the trading perspective, I think the Ambuja cement can also be kept on your watch list. And the rest of the name, I need to clearly keep exactly look at the risk reward ratio. Then only might comment on that.
Okay, fair point. Got that as well. Well, thank you so much then, Brijesh, for being with us on the show today and helping all our viewers out identify the right pockets to be in and what to avoid at this point in time as well. 23,174 viewers, 342 points of a loss for the Nifty. We've started off on a rather somber note as far as FY26 is concerned. But remember, this was largely being expected because April 2nd is something that we have all been focusing on since the last 1 or 2 weeks, saying that that is the biggest trigger for the markets to really help us identify whether things go in the bull favor or bear favor at this point in time. What will be decided by Donald Trump and his government tonight will be important key takeaway for the markets for tomorrow. And for now, there is some nervousness because the statements ahead of April 2nd have been rather hawkish, saying that Donald Trump does not want to give any exceptions. He wants to go all out when it comes to reciprocal tariffs, the Liberation Day for the US, and that's when we will actually see the impact that could have as far as various countries, economies, and even India is concerned for tomorrow. 23,180. 341 points lower, choppiness with a lot of negativity across the board, barring oil and gas and media stocks. Rest all of the pockets are actually down in terms of sectors. Real estate, there is a sharp decline, but then there is this other important key factor also that's on the back of the real estate names. Why are they declining? Especially this fall is led by the Mumbai based real estate or Maharashtra based real estate players. Why? Because the Maharashtra state government has increased the state ready reckoner rate by an average 3.9% after having kept them unchanged for the last 2 years. These rates have been increased by 5.9% in urban areas governed by municipal corporation, and this is what has led to a sharp sharp decline on names like Macrotech, on names like Oberoi Realty, for instance. A rise in this rate leads to a higher stamp duty, higher property prices, which is negative for such real estate companies, and therefore you do see some pressure. The index on real estate is down. The index is frozen now. The Nifty is at 23,179, 340 points of a loss. IT space continues to be under pressure. Consumer durables, pharma, financial services, Nifty bank under pressure. Over 1% cuts for at least 7 indices. Over 2% cuts for at least 4 indices, and one index above 3% in trade today, kind of a loss. India VIX is rallied by 9% at 13.8, and that's what has caused all this volatility. Vodafone Idea shut shop 19.7% higher in the F&O space. Top mover there, IndusInd Bank and Indus Towers are some of the other movers. Trent also moves up in trade, but that's how things have shaped up. The mid and the small caps also came under pressure, 0.8% of a decline for mid caps. Small caps also down by nearly 1% in trade today. So all across, it was a broad-based sell-off, nervousness setting in. Everything will be known as to whether there will be a smart recovery or further pressure from these levels overnight when you hear from Donald Trump when he finally signs that reciprocal tariff notes, or in case there is any kind of a reversal, cuts, or as well as a change of heart, then the markets could be in for a smart recovery as well. We'll leave you at that, viewers, but do stay tuned on to Business Today Television to track the markets, the momentum, as well as the news flow in the business world. Stay tuned.
During his visit to China, Bangladesh's interim chief Muhammad Yunus made a direct pitch to Beijing.
7 states of India, eastern part of India, called Seven Sisters.